There are three types of knowledge every technical writer needs to acquire to succeed: product knowledge, technical knowledge, and user knowledge. However, just knowing one of the three won't provide you with the kind of information you need to write good documentation. Product knowledge is an understanding of a product to serve that might include information about its application, function, features, use, and support requirements. Technical knowledge means logical understanding of how systems and processes work and interact with each other. Instead of depending on subject matter experts for everything, you can become the subject matter expert yourself. There are many reasons why it's a good idea for a technical writer to gain extensive product and technical knowledge. You will gain respect of the developers and be able to talk to them with some intelligence. You will be able to determine whether information you receive or read is correct. You will be able to write much faster than you would if you know nothing. You would have confidence that your documentation is accurate even when it has not been sufficiently reviewed by subject matter experts. When you become well-versed in the technical and user aspects of the product about which you're writing, you will find it much easier to write. You should strive to gain knowledge of each of the following: a product management understanding of how the product behaves, looks, meets the necessary requirements, and serves the needs of the customers; a quality assurance understanding when it comes to being aware if something does not work as expected; a user experience understanding of who the product user is or how easy the product is to use; an engineering understanding of the technology behind the product; a business development specialist understanding of how important this product is to the business plans of your company. So how can you acquire the three types of knowledge: product knowledge, technical knowledge, and user knowledge? Technical writers need to succeed. The more knowledge you have, the better documentation you can create. However, amid the information overload technical writers often face, it's also one of the most difficult assets to acquire. Why is product knowledge among the three most essential types of knowledge? Since you are writing about the product, you have to know a lot about this product. But the interesting part about gaining product knowledge is that technical writers often are not real users of the product they document. To do this, you need to learn a wide body of research skills so that you could, for example, do a good interview, or set up a small focus group, or send out a very directed survey. Each time you have to step back and go to the users' questions. What will users be using it for? What are their primary needs? What obstacles might get in their way? How they are going to use it? And who's going to use it? These three types of knowledge often overlap. You need to learn a lot of things about the product, and by product, I would include the whole domain where the product's context is, its sort of industry or market awareness. But you only need to really focus on what the user wants to know about that product. There's one more aspect I want to touch upon in terms of gaining product knowledge by being the user. And this is probably the most important thing about any job, regardless of your like or dislike of the product. You have to test out all of the instructions. It sounds somewhat trivial, but the more technical the position you have, the more difficult it becomes. In whatever programming language or technical domain you are approaching, there are endless amounts of things you could learn. If you are, for example, with Android even, there are so many layers that you could possibly focus on. This is why you have to filter down to the product. What part of this technical domain is relevant based on the product? What helps you filter down the whole immensity of technical information you could possibly have to a more manageable subset? Gaining the technical knowledge is one of the most challenging aspects of developing the product documentation. Some software programming is a hot domain in itself. It's a whole discipline. You cannot just go in and say, I totally understand what this code is doing and they can easily write about it. Somebody is a professional who's spent years in training getting it to a point. So no matter how many beginner tutorials or online courses you can go through trying to figure it out, you will probably be still like a kindergarten level compared to engineers. It can be frustrating because it's hard to break through to a deeper technical level. But at the very least, by going through these online courses to gain this knowledge and become familiar with terms and basics, and from that terminology you can get correct understanding about something fundamentally and know how it works. Then you will be able to understand what engineers are saying. You will write more credibly using appropriate terms. So you need to go out and do research, teaching yourself. And that's the key to any technical communicator. You have to be always eager to learn something new and not be afraid of it. By and large, you need to learn how to learn, and you have to be open to that. The other thing you have to do is learn how to ask really good questions. Asking good questions is hard, especially when it comes to technical stuff. If you can match asking a good question with using a basic understanding, you get to the deeper knowledge of the subject, and that's a lifelong learning. As for the user knowledge, you have to look at analytics on various web pages, user forums, where you can get information about potential users' concerns and interests, fashion and demographics research, annual engineering surveys. You should know what your audience wants.